Well, look how far we made it. We're now at the point where booster shots are being mandated. And you gotta love Yahoo News right here, Yahoo Sports. NBA recommending players, coaches receive COVID-19 booster shot by December 1st. And if you don't, they will begin treating you like you are not vaccinated. You'll have to undergo testing instead, which means this is a booster shot mandate. Isn't it funny? Man, it was only a few months ago Dave Rubin got suspended on Twitter for suggesting that efficacy was waning and booster shots would be recommended by the CDC. They suspended him for that. And then a few months later, they say, actually, we do have booster shots. And everybody who said they are going to mandate vaccination boosters and it's going to be endless, well, that was the crackpot conspiracy theory. Man, I look at all this stuff going on with the Durham investigation, with that Igor guy or whatever, the dossier, the subpoenas are a-coming. And I'm just like, could you imagine being on the establishment left, consistently wrong about everything, and just you keep buying into it? I tell you, that's how you know it's a cult, right? They love posting. They really don't like the "Let's Go Brandon" meme. I saw this post on Reddit, and it was someone said, "Let's go Brandon," and the meme guy's like, "Yes, absolutely, F Joe Biden, and also F Donald Trump and his cult." And I'm just like, the Donald Trump cult is not relevant to any political conversation. It exists. I mean, and a lot of these people believe crazy things, but they're not politically relevant. Sorry, that's just the reality. Now, there are a lot of die-hard Trump supporters I wouldn't consider to be the cultists. They just trust and believe Trump, but they're also not as politically relevant. But they are. What I mean to say is, the only thing they have to offer, the establishment left, being wrong all the time, is that Trump still exists or something. And they're still doing monologue bits on late night TV. And I'm just like, I don't know where this guy is relevant. No disrespect to Trump. He was president, but he's not president now. His followers don't control any major cultural institutions. That's about it. But this is what they'll give you because they're in a cult. And in order to justify how they're always wrong, they just have to deflect. And here we are. Now, if you are in the NBA, all of these NBA players who got vaccinated, you gotta go get vaccinated again. So Kyrie Irving, was that's the guy, right, who was like, I'm going to do my thing and I won't play. I was talking to someone recently who said that they were quitting their job because their job mandates vaccines. And they were like, what am I supposed to do? Get a booster shot every month? I'm not doing it. I'm quitting. Well, here you go. Take a look at this. Exactly what we thought was going to happen. And now don't forget, Aaron Rodgers. We got to talk about Aaron Rodgers because you see, in the past week, I was basically getting tweeted at a million times. And this is the best. This is the best because I got COVID. And we had a COVID outbreak here at the Castle. And we received monoclonal antibodies and NAD drip with vitamin drip, as well as ivermectin, azithromycin. And what did the leftists, the establishment, immediately latch onto? Ivermectin. Here's the funny part. I actually credited monoclonal antibodies, the Regeneron therapy, with helping me out. I actually am not convinced ivermectin did anything, to be completely honest. And I mean it. I said the same thing about Joe Rogan. But you see, these people are in a cult. And I'll give you another example. If you've watched my videos, you'll know that I have said I won't blindly trust Brett Weinstein, even though I like the guy and I know him and I do trust him on a lot of things. When they come out and talk about ivermectin or whatever, I'm just like, bro, just because I don't trust the mainstream media doesn't mean I'm going to blindly trust you without looking at the data. So I've actually never been bullish on ivermectin or HCQ or any of that stuff. And I've actually been middle of the road on it. Now, monoclonal antibodies, Joe Rogan got that. He gets better. He also got NAD. He also got ivermectin, azithromycin, and I got the same thing. So maybe, but I genuinely believe it was the monoclonal antibodies. We've now got a story coming out. Apparently, one treatment with monoclonal antibodies gives you like 82% effective inoculation or whatever, immunity, whatever you want to call it. I don't know. They're reporting that it's 82% effective in preventing you from getting COVID again for 8 months. Well, then. So does Regeneron therapy count as a vaccination? Anyway, the point is, I've never been the diehard ivermectin person. I just because some non-establishment person says it doesn't mean I think it's going to be true. And what does the left do? They all start laughing and screaming, claiming that I took an unproven COVID treatment. I'm like, yo, I told the doctor I didn't want ivermectin. I was like, I don't want any. Just give me the monoclonal antibodies. And they were like, no, we have to give it to you because, prophylactic, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I don't think it works. It's not FDA approved. There you go. But it is what it is. I mean, if my doctor gives me instructions, I'm going to follow my doctor's instructions. That's all I can do. But the only narrative they have is like, oh, Tim Pool, ivermectin. If these people actually listened, actually did research, and actually understood, they know that I actually have a more nuanced view of ivermectin and have been praising monoclonal antibodies the whole time. But they can't. They're in a cult, which is why you get this. Check this out. This is how they play the dirty game, too, because these establishment left types, they're not going to read the news here. And this is why it's so important you guys share videos like this. I was thinking about, the goal of these hit pieces, and they're constantly smearing me and Joe Rogan, Aaron Rodgers. And it's because they want to make sure that people in the cult never get out. Because if you actually watch my videos where I'm like, I don't believe ivermectin is effective. I don't know. I don't know. When I say I don't believe, I'm saying I have no strong feelings one way or the other. I know it's not FDA approved. Now, they'll expect you, if you're in the cult, to believe I'm one of these horse paste, whatever smear they want to use, even though I've actually been critical of it. Isn't it strange? Now, if you actually start watching my videos, you'll be like, hey, wait a minute, this Tim Pool guy, he doesn't believe the things they claimed he believed. Like, they put out some hit piece about me, and they just make stuff up. Like, literally just made stuff up. This guy emails me, and I'm like, that's not true. I did X, Y, and Z. And he goes, well, if you didn't do X, Y, and Z. I'm like, but we did. Well, you didn't. I'm literally telling you we did the things you're asking if we did. And I'm not going to get too specific because I don't want to shout this guy out. But it's just like, they just lie. They literally make stuff up. And I have friends, like activists, who just push it out because they're in a cult. Look at this. The NBA is officially recommending COVID-19 booster shots for its players, coaches, and referees. Just wait till I get halfway through the story on this one. The league told these three groups on Sunday that they should receive a coronavirus vaccine booster shot, especially if they have received the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. Especially. What does that mean? It means no matter which vaccine you got to get a booster shot. Those who received the single-dose Johnson & Johnson vaccine more than 2 months ago, the league and the Players Association said, should get a booster shot of their choice. Those who received full doses of either Pfizer or Moderna vaccines more than 6 months ago should receive a booster. The league's recommendations mirror that of the CDC, which last month issued similar recommendations for tens of millions of Americans. The CDC authorized boosters for all three vaccines and said people can receive a different booster shot than they initially received. I'll mix and match. Just follow your own doctor's instructions. And if you're not happy with your doctor, you find a second opinion. That's why these things exist. And the left's response to me in that regard was, that's called doctor shopping. Doctor shopping? Getting a second opinion? This is extremely normal. You talk to as many doctors as you can. You diversify the medical opinions you find. That's basically what Joe Rogan encouraged me. He didn't give me medical advice. Joe was like, look, man, you got to take it seriously. Monoclonal antibodies. Talk to a doctor. See if it makes sense. And it was that it was the medical advice I got from Joe was just talk to don't stop talking to doctors. Like, basically call and ask them and take this seriously. Don't just ignore it. Because a lot of these hospitals are going to be like, go home, go to bed. You need to find someone who's going to say, like, vitamins at the very least. Long story short, found somebody who was like, I want to give you the full treatment because my lungs were pretty bad. They were like, we want to check you out. And they were, and that's just the way it is, getting a second opinion. And actually, I only got two opinions. First, I called the hospital and they were like, just go to sleep. And I was like, okay. And then I talked to Joe because I knew he had it, and he was like, "Nah, man, you should call somebody else." And I was like, "Okay." And then I called somebody else, and they were like, "We want to give you monoclonal antibodies." And I was like, "Okay." That's it. Look, if my choices are do nothing, okay. And then someone's like, "Well, why don't you ask somebody else?" Okay. And then I talked to another doctor, and they're like, "We'd like to give you a treatment." I said, "Okay." That's all it is. It's that simple. Boy, are they salty about this because you probably heard Aaron Rodgers did the same thing, but let's read more. Look at this. They say the NBA also implemented a new December 1st deadline for certain fully vaccinated personnel. If players, coaches, or officials don't receive a booster shot by that date, depending on when the initial vaccine was administered, they will be required to game day testing once again. It's a mandate. They're mandating boosters, and they're coming for you. So start dancing now. This reminds me of those old movies where the cowboy's shooting at the feet of the guy and he's dancing. He's like, ha ha, dance, make him dance. You think you're going to end with this? You think that if you keep complying, that it's going to end with like, okay, we did what we need to do. It was 15 days to slow the spread. Yo, it's been almost 2 years. It was just wear a mask. That's all we need until we get the vaccine. Then we got the vaccines. Now they require vaccines and masks. Now it's a vaccine mandate. Now it's a booster mandate. This will not end. It's going to keep getting worse. Soon you're going to have your mobile app. You're going to have your tracking app. Then they're going to say, oh, it's not just already. I think it's University of Denver is mandating the flu vaccine. So here you go. More and more and more and more. You keep giving an inch. They will keep taking it. Eventually, you will be a puppet. They say about 58% of Americans are fully vaccinated against coronavirus as of Sunday afternoon, according to the New York Times. While there are a few holdouts in the NBA, more than 97 players are still vaccinated. Among those holdouts is Kyrie Irving, who has been barred from playing with the team due to the New York City mandate. Mayor-elect Eric Adams said he will not change city's current mandate anytime soon either. Though the Nets have said they will welcome Irving back with open arms if he either gets vaccinated or the city's mandate lifts. It's unclear when one of those things will happen. Dude's apparently getting $17.5 million to not play. He's getting half his contract. So I think he's all right. I think he's all right for the rest of his life. Now, I suppose if he wants to live like a king for the rest of his life, he'll have to get the vaccine. But let's be real. If you got paid $17.5 million one time, then you're going to pay probably 50 to 60% in taxes. If people don't realize, you're going to pay a lot in taxes. Dude's going to end up with like $8 million. Pretty sure $8 million one time is more than enough to never have to work again. I mean, you can buy property, you can rent it out, you can buy a ton of property, rent a ton of property out, give it to a management company to look after for you, and then sit back as the money just comes in. Never have to work. Or buy Bitcoin and never have to work. So this dude's set. This dude's all right. But let's just be real. This is a mandate. We got this tweet from Shams Charania. This is a reporter. He's a senior lead NBA insider writer with The Atlantic and The Stadium. NBA informed teams today that all players who received the J&J vaccine at least 2 months ago will be subject to game day testing beginning December 1st if they do not receive a booster shot. And of course, the official reporting now is also if you're after 6 months of receiving Pfizer or Moderna, you gotta get a booster shot. Now let's talk about Aaron Rodgers because this is hilarious. Terry Bradshaw knocks Aaron Rodgers. You lied to everyone. Aw, poor baby gonna cry, Terry Bradshaw. You know what? Look, Aaron Rodgers, I don't care what he said. I don't care what he does with his personal medical decisions. Look, I got the monoclonal antibody treatment. So let me show you this. Let me tell you something. Regeneron says its COVID-19 antibody cocktail can prevent COVID-19 infections for months. They say 4 injections of the monoclonal antibody treatment, that's 1 dose, protects you by 81.6% for up to 8 months. All right, I'm good. I'm good. And that, I'm pretty sure, is not. Let me make sure. They say these results demonstrate that Regen COVID has the potential to provide long-lasting immunity from SARS-CoV-2 infection, a result particularly important to those who do not respond to vaccines. So apparently, this is if you're not sick. If you are not sick and you get the antibody therapy, apparently that provides you with 8 months of protection. Now, if you get sick and get the monoclonal antibodies, you got natural immunity. Now, there are some reports coming out from the CDC saying that natural immunity isn't nearly as good, but there's also a bunch of statements from Pfizer scientists we've seen publicly where they contradict this. So I'm not going to pretend to have any special insider information. I can only show you what's coming out in mainstream reports, and then you need to make your decisions on your medical health because that's the most important thing to you. If you don't got your health, what do you got? Check this out. Former NFL quarterback and television analyst Terry Bradshaw admonished Green Bay Packers quarterback Aaron Rodgers over his vaccination status, saying he lied to everyone. I'd give Aaron Rodgers some advice, Bradshaw said. It would have been nice if he'd just come to the Naval Academy and learned how to be honest. Learned not to lie, because that's what you did, Aaron. You lied to everyone. I'm extremely disappointed. Rodgers last week tested positive for COVID, revealed he has not been vaccinated after saying earlier in the season he was immunized. I don't know what that means by immunized, but it looks like selective language to try assumptive language. You want someone to believe you were vaccinated when you weren't. See, I am immunized. Aha, but, that's because I got the Regeneron treatment. After testing positive, Rodgers said he has an allergy to an ingredient in the mRNA vaccines produced by Pfizer and Moderna and had consulted with podcaster Joe Rogan about how to best protect himself from the virus. Rodgers has said he has taken a regimen of other drugs he believed would protect him from the coronavirus. There's a report. This is hilarious. They're calling his treatment Homeopathic. I went to Mom's Organics store. It's a chain, I'm pretty sure, right? I don't know, maybe not. But they have like a homeopathic medicine section. And I'm like, you don't need a prescription for any of the homeopathy stuff. Monoclonal antibodies needs to be prescribed and administered to you. As same thing with ivermectin. It's so weird. The crazy thing to me about all of this is I don't know or care what works or doesn't work, to be completely honest. What I know is that I got sick and I called the doctor. One doctor said, sleep it off. Another doctor said, I'd like to give you the full gamut to make sure that you're going to be okay. And the reality was, for me, I was actually doing pretty bad. So when I called the first doctor and I was like, I'm pretty bad shape, doc. They were like, no, go to bed. And I was like, okay. And then, Joe was basically like, dude, if you're getting sicker, like you need to talk to somebody. I'm like, okay. So I just called a different doctor and they were like, if you're getting that bad. What people need to understand is that Maryland actually has monoclonal antibody therapy available. Okay, so I live in West Virginia, and we have the office in Maryland, and then we basically bounce back and forth for the most part. But most of our new HQ stuff is all West Virginia. But anyway, the point is, like, blue state, Maryland's a blue state. They got monoclonal antibody therapy buildings or whatever, pop-ups, and same thing with Florida. So if a doctor says, here you go, then here you go. And it's crazy because the backlash is so insane to, like, I'm pretty sure that Aaron Rodgers got monoclonal antibodies, and the only thing the media talks about is ivermectin. I got monoclonal antibodies. That's what helped me get better. And the only thing the media wants to talk about is ivermectin. I don't care about it. It's the weirdest thing. If my doctor says, take this antibiotic, I say, okay. What am I supposed to do? Be like, well, Don Lemon said no, so I better ignore the advice of my doctors. That is insane. And they go on to mention, following backlash after his vaccination status was made public, the Super Bowl winning quarterback said he found himself in the crosshairs. He says, before my final nail gets put in my cancel culture casket, I think I would like to set the record straight on so many of the blatant lies that are out there about myself. He says he is not anti-vax flat earther, but a critical thinker who has become the subject of a witch hunt. We are a divided nation politically. We are a divided nation on COVID-19, whether or not to take the vaccine, Bradshaw responded. And unfortunately, we've got players that pretty much think only about themselves, and I'm extremely disappointed in the actions of Aaron Rodgers. If Aaron Rodgers cared at all what you had to say, I would feel bad. But Aaron Rodgers apparently came out and said the right will champion it, the left will criticize it. I don't care. It's all a sham. Good for him. Do your thing. If you talk to a doctor and it turns out he's allergic, who are these people to be like, well, he's allergic, but he should get it? Terry Bradshaw's yelling at him. Yo, when you want to create medical segregation, I don't know exactly what Aaron Rodgers said when he claimed to be immunized. But if you want to create medical segregation and shame people who can't get the vaccine due to allergies or medical conditions, don't be surprised when they lie. Because what are they supposed to do? You're ostracizing people through no fault of their own. Well, here we go. We got this news on the Regeneron stuff. This is interesting. I'm not. This is the weirdest thing. All these lefties are like, Tim got the EUA approved monoclonal antibodies, but he's an anti-vaxxer. But I'm not an anti-vaxxer. I'm rather pro-vaccine, and I've repeatedly defended the vaccine. I'm just pro-choice. Those words. I believe people should make medical decisions based on their risk factors and their doctor's advice, and I did that. And monoclonal antibodies is an emergency use authorization treatment, and I got that. And apparently that provides me with protection for up to 8 months, which is okay. And they're acting like all of a sudden it's shocking that I'm in favor, that Donald Trump got the vaccine and he got the Regeneron therapy. The only thing they have on the left is to claim that they're always right and to lie about other people. It's like CRT in schools. There's a meme I saw. It was pretty funny. It was like math theory is not being taught in K through 12 schools. Clearly, no one is teaching mathematical theory, which is an advanced college course. They're just teaching the numbers. They're teaching division, multiplication, subtraction, order of operations. Yes. So they are actually teaching core parts of advanced mathematical theory. And that's the point about critical race theory. They're absolutely applying critical race theory, critical race praxis, and applied principles. These are all in schools. What can they do when they lose? Lie. This is the most amazing thing to me because now they're doubling, tripling down, and it's getting scary. You know, when someone like Cenk Uygur of the Young Turks says, no one's teaching CRT in schools, even though everyone knows they are, you've got this New York City journalistic institution being like, we're tracking lies about critical race theory in schools being pushed by the far right. And I'm like, you know, regular people know it's all happening, right? At a certain point, when you can see evidence and it's right in front of your face, you're just like, hey, you're lying to me. Why? And they keep lying. Cenk Uygur coming out saying it's not happening. And people believe him. And that's why they do it, because some people still believe, but they're losing that battle. Joe Biden's approval rating is at 37 in aggregate. Among independents, it's just dropping more and more and more. So we saw that undercover video from Veritas, Project Veritas, who had journalists raided by the FBI, by the way, which is insane. But we saw that video where the consultant for Phil Murphy in New Jersey said, we're not going to do the vaccine mandate until after the election because moderates and Republicans don't like it. Moderates and Republicans are voting together. Moderate individuals, people like you or I mean, maybe you're a conservative, maybe you're a liberal, whatever, but most people who watch my videos are fairly moderate individuals. And that's why a lot of the Trump supporters don't like me. The left doesn't like me. We're fairly moderate individuals trying to figure out what's reasonable, trying to respect individual rights, try and just support freedom and personal responsibility, but not necessarily core traditional values of conservatism or anything like that. You see, we end up voting more Republican because the Republicans at least respect freedom and personal responsibility. And the left doesn't. And it's the craziest thing to me when I heard someone, they were telling me like, I'm quitting my job over the boosters. And I'm like, wow, that's crazy. And then I was like, where? And, you know, in the conversation, they said they consider themselves to be a Democrat, will probably vote Democrat. And I'm like, why are you voting for the people who are implementing the mandates that is making you quit your job? I'm not saying vote Republican, vote Libertarian. I don't know. Just don't vote for those people. But here we go, my friends. We are now at booster mandate. So what do you think is going to happen in New York? The NBA is going to do it. They're going to do it with a bunch of celebrities, right? So NBA is a good place to start because now all these NBA stars are going to be like, oh, you already got it. Just get the booster and you'll be fine. That way it'll convince a bunch of regular people to be like, my favorite NBA player got it, so what's the big deal? I don't know. What's the big deal? In 6 months, they're going to tell you to do it again and again and again, and it's never going to stop. And then they're going to roll out the mobile app. Then they're going to roll out the tracking app. Then you're going to get the ankle bracelet. I'm kidding about the ankle bracelet thing. Your phone is going to track you well enough. Well, I'll leave it there. We'll see how this plays out. Next segment's coming up at 1 p.m. on this channel. Thanks for hanging out. We'll see you all then.